Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Big Fish Lad, and today we're going to do a video about me celebrating 30 years in this hobby. Yes, 30 years this month I have been keeping fish. So what I thought I would do is, I would talk about the five most kept fish that I have ever had. So the five fish that I have kept the most of during that 30 years. Okay guys, and it's been a long time, I've learned a hell of a lot, I've kept a lot of fish, and I'm where I am at today keeping Central Americans. But getting to that journey guys, I did start off with South Americans. I did keep South American cichlids for a long time. So let's get into the video guys and talk about the five most kept American cichlids for me in 30 years. So no better place to start with the fish that I first ever owned, and that was the Oscar cichlid. So before we talk about the Oscar cichlid guys, check some of this footage out. So guys, that's the Oscar cichlid. Those Oscar cichlids were the Oscar cichlids that I've kept. All those fish belong to me along the way. I wish I had some more footage of some of the older stuff I had, but as you know guys, we didn't have phones in them days. So that's the Oscar cichlid guys. Let's get into some information about them. So like I said, it was the first fish that I kept. They are a fantastic fish to keep. They are personable. They have a brilliant sort of like boisterous personality about them. A lot of people say they're aggressive. In my opinion and my experience, I've never really had a massively aggressive one, and I've never really had one that I've had to worry about with other tank mates. So I've always found you can keep tank mates, other bigger South American cichlids. I've even had convicts with them guys. So I think, you know, it can be a little bit underestimated at times. They do get big. They grow to around about 13 to 14 inches. Biggest one I ever had was 13 inches, and that was a red tiger Oscar. There are different types of Oscars guys, and there's the red tiger, there's the white tiger, there's the albino, there's Latino, there's the ruby, there's the red, the copper, and you get the wild types as well, you know, that some of the local fish shops near me sell. So yeah, there's a lot more, probably even more than I've said on that list guys, because there's that many. Again, very common in the hobby. Lots of people keep Oscars, and when I was 30 years ago, it was probably the only big American cichlid that you could get in the local fish shops. But that's the Oscar cichlid guys. That's number one on the list. Let's move on to the next one. So guys, on to the next one of the top five. So my number two of these five, and these are in no particular order, to be honest with you. The number two is the Jack Dempsey cichlid. Now, I love the Jack Dempsey, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But out of all the years I've had regrets of getting rid of a fish, the biggest regret I had was when I got rid of my Jack Dempsey breeding pair. They were such a beautiful pair. Biggest regret ever, that guys. I wish I'd never got rid of them. So check these pictures out of some of the Jack Dempseys I've kept, and look out for that breeding pair guys. Brilliant, so that's the Jack Dempsey guys, and some facts and figures on the Jack Dempsey. They're really good fish to keep in a sense of size, so they're only going to top out at around about 8 inches, although if you watch Ash's cichlids you'll see she's got one at 10 inches, but I think that's rare. Also, it says on the internet that they're very aggressive, but again, I've never really had a mega aggressive Jack Dempsey, and I've had them in with other fish. So again, I've kept them with Oscars and other South American fish. These are a Central American fish, by the way, guys, but an absolute readily available fish to get in the hobby, and a beautiful fish to have. One thing to look out for, guys, is sexing them. The males don't have any spots on the cheek, whereas females you'll find there'll be spots on the cheek, and just a generally nice fish to keep, and a great with communities of South American and Central Americans. So that's the Jack Dempsey, guys. Now to number 3 on the list. So guys, number 3 on the list is the Severin Cichlid, and like I said, again, not in no particular order, but that's the Severin Cichlid. Before I tell you some info on the Severin Cichlid, one thing just to tell you though is, out of all these fish that I'm talking to you about, that's the one I've probably kept the most of in numbers. But check out this footage of some beautiful Severins that I've kept in the past. And that's the Severin Cichlid, guys. So just a few facts and information on this fish. From a size point of view, your red tigers, that kind of thing, are maxing out at 10 inches. So your rock keels and others about 8 inches. So you're not going to get sevs that grow too massive. But so if you've got a big enough tank, you can house a few of them in a tank. I don't know if you remember, but if you've watched some of my early videos, you'll see that I had a community of wild caught Severins. They were stunning, and there's so many different types of Severins in this hobby. You've got your greens, you've got your golds, you've got your red spotted, you've got your red tigers, you've got your Notatus and Pendiculatus, your rock keels, and many more, guys. And the one that I love is the Librafer. So that's the true Sever in my eyes, and that's the one. That one is a mouth brooder. So yeah, again, a great fish to keep, and I would recommend anybody keep a Severin Cichlid, guys. Aggression, they're not massively aggressive. They will hold their own with any other American cichlid. If they're breeding, they can be aggressive like a lot of American cichlids. But yeah, guys, the Severin Cichlid, number 3 on the list. So guys, what is number 4 on the list? So number 4 would have to be the convict cichlid. Now, the most underrated, the most undervalued, the most overlooked American cichlid, in my opinion. So let's have a look at some pictures, guys. Yes, they were my convicts you've just seen there, guys, and like I said, I do think they're overlooked and they're underrated because they're so 10 a penny. They are from Central America, but an absolutely fantastic cichlid. And I think in probably 90% of fish rooms, if someone's got a few tanks in a fish room, you're probably likely to see a convict cichlid somewhere. And if you want something to breed, convict cichlids breed for fun. Great tank mates for your bigger South Americans, very cunning, very conniving, and great dither fish for your bigger American cichlids that won't accept anything the same size as them in the tank. Now, convicts are a 10 a penny, especially where I am in the UK. You can get them in any fish shop and they're a couple of quid each. So absolutely, guys, fantastic fish to keep. That's the convict cichlid, number 4 on the list. Okay, so number 5 on the list, and actually, guys, I'm going to be dead honest with you. I know this, I said they're not in any particular order. However, this is my favourite of the 5. This is my favourite fish ever, and if I've said it a million times, that if I ever could only keep one fish, this is the fish that I would keep, and that is the Waru cichlid, guys. So let's look at some photos of some Waru cichlid that I've had in the past. So guys, that's the beautiful Waru cichlid, and this fish, right, this fish, one of the biggest bugbears is if you go on Google, it says this fish is a peaceful fish. This is not a peaceful cichlid. So the most peaceful you're going to get this cichlid is if you have it in a school, and I'm saying 6 or more. So you think a school of 6 Waru fully grown, 10 inches each, you're looking at a big tank. If you keep one on its own in a community tank, they can cause aggro. They can be so territorial. Same as a pair. So a pair, if you put a pair in a community tank, they are so territorial. They are mean And I have had Waru cichlids kill Oscars, so again, they are aggressive, not peaceful. Don't get me wrong, I have had a 200-gallon tank with a shoal, school, whatever it's called, of Waru cichlid, and there's nothing looked better. You can't have plants with these guys because they'll just eat them. They love eating greens, they munch on cucumber, they munch on courgette, they'll munch on lettuce, they'll munch on peppers, the lot. They love it, so it's really important that you give them a good amount of greens. Like I said, guys, they're a South American fish, and they used to be called the poor man's discus, but for me, I'd much prefer one of them over the Waru, over the discus. So guys, that is the 5 most kept fish in the last 30 years that I have spent in this hobby. And you know what, guys? I'm looking forward to the next 30 years. Well, I hope anyway. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video.